Hello, dear story lovers. At the amount of 1,000 subscribers, I will post a huge series of special stories for you. Subscribe now. In the sprawling depths of the cosmos, peace was not won by mutual understanding or benevolence, but by an agreement built on fear. The Galactic Accord, etched into the archives of every major civilization, had one immutable law: do not wake the humans. It was a warning born of ancient whispers, of civilizations that once dared to interfere with Earth and paid the ultimate price. The humans, as the records told it, were a young species, brilliant yet chaotic. Their brief ascension had been marked by wars, unparalleled ingenuity, and an uncanny ability to defy the odds. Then, one day, they vanished. No one knew why or how, but their planet fell silent. Earth became a quiet anomaly in a galaxy teeming with life. When curious explorers ventured too close, the planet itself repelled them. Defense systems of unknown origin lying dormant yet active enough to send a clear message: stay away. For millennia, the rule held. Entire generations of beings grew up fearing the blue-green world that hung in the Milky Way, its surface cloaked in an eerie stillness. Songs were sung of the destructive potential of humans, legends of their wars that scarred their planet and, allegedly, beyond. It was said that their slumber was a blessing to the universe. But for Kayla, a young Zytheronian scientist, the legends were not warnings, they were puzzles to be solved. Kayla stood on the observation deck of the starship Eclipse, her emerald skin glinting under the soft glow of the ship's biolights. Zytheronians were a meticulous species, priding themselves on logic and exploration. For Kayla, however, logic had always been paired with curiosity, a dangerous combination. Her gaze was fixed on the holographic display of Earth. The planet's beauty was undeniable: swirling white clouds, vast blue oceans, and continents brimming with lush green. Yet what fascinated Kayla most was not the planet itself, but the faint signal emanating from its depths. For weeks, Kayla had studied the signal. It pulsed faintly, an ancient rhythm like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Unlike anything recorded in the galactic archives, the signal defied analysis. It was not random, it had a structure, a purpose. But what? And why now? Dr. Kayla, a voice interrupted her thoughts. Commander VYRN, her superior and the captain of the Eclipse, approached. His features were stern, his posture rigid, a textbook example of Zytheronian authority. The Council has reminded us of the Accord, VYRN said, his voice edged with caution. Our proximity to Earth is already drawing attention. I hope you understand the consequences of pursuing this obsession. Kayla straightened, her resolve unwavering. The Council fears what they don't understand, Commander. The signal from Earth is a relic of the past, something we might learn from. Imagine what we could achieve if we understood their technology. VYRN's mandibles clicked in irritation. And imagine what would happen if we woke them. The Council doesn't issue warnings lightly, Kayla. You're playing with forces beyond your understanding. Kayla turned back to the hologram, her voice quieter but no less determined. Commander, if we allow fear to dictate our actions, we'll stagnate. Earth may hold the key to advancing not just our species, but the entire galaxy. VYRN sighed, his exoskeletal frame shifting as he considered her words. You've always been reckless, Kayla. Just don't forget that curiosity killed more than one explorer. With that, he left, leaving Kayla alone with the hologram. She stared at the planet, her mind racing. The Council's warnings didn't frighten her. What did frighten her was the idea of turning away, of leaving this puzzle unsolved. In the quiet hum of the observation deck, she made her decision. Kayla would investigate the signal. She would unravel the mystery of Earth, the forbidden planet. And she would do it before anyone realized what she was up to. Down in the engineering bay, Kayla assembled her team. They were a small, loyal group: scientists, technicians, and one particularly adventurous pilot named Zyrek. None of them knew the full extent of her plan, but they trusted her, and that was enough. As the eclipse shifted into orbit around Earth, Kayla stood at the helm. The signal grew stronger, its pulse now a tangible vibration in the ship's systems. It was almost as if the planet knew they were there, as if it were watching. "Prepare the probe," Kayla ordered, her voice steady. "We'll send it down to the source of the signal." Zyrek glanced at her. "And what happens if the stories are true? What if we wake them?" Kayla met his gaze, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Then we'll finally get some answers." The probe launched, descending through Earth's atmosphere like a shooting star. Kayla watched the data stream in as it neared the ocean's surface. The signal grew louder, more structured, like a symphony reaching its crescendo. And then, just as the probe reached the ocean's depths, the signal stopped. The silence was deafening. On the bridge of the eclipse, alarms began to blare. Systems flickered, and the ship's AI spoke in a voice that quivered with unease. "Unknown energy signature detected. Origin, Earth. Status, rising." Kayla's heart raced as she stared at the hologram. Earth's surface began to glow faintly, its continents lighting up like ancient circuits. The planet was waking. And Kayla realized, far too late, that she had just broken the universe's one rule. The air on the eclipse's bridge was electric with tension. Kayla's fingers danced over the holographic controls as she tried to make sense of the data streaming in. Earth's surface glimmered like a living network, pulsing with an energy signature that defied Zytheronian science. The crew around her whispered nervously, their usual calm unraveling into muted panic. "Status report." Kayla barked, her voice cutting through the din. "Unknown energy readings spreading across the planet," replied Solon, the ship's analytics officer. His voice trembled. "It's not just the signal anymore. It's like the entire planet is activating." Kayla's mind raced. How could a planet presumed dormant for millennia suddenly come alive? More importantly, what had she triggered by sending the probe? She glanced at Zyrek, the ship's pilot, who had abandoned his usual smirk for a tight-lipped stare. "I told you," he muttered. "I told you not to mess with this place." Kayla ignored him. "What's the probe status?" "Still transmitting," Solon answered. "But its readings don't make sense. There's something massive beneath the ocean floor, mechanical, biological, maybe both. The probe systems are struggling to classify it." Before Kayla could respond, the eclipse's AI interrupted, its voice unnaturally cold. "Warning, gravitational anomalies detected. Source, Earth." The ship lurched as if caught in an invisible tide. Kayla gripped the edge of the console as the crew scrambled to stabilize the vessel. "Shields up." VYRN's voice boomed from the entrance. The commander stormed onto the bridge, his eyes blazing with fury. "What have you done, Kayla?" She didn't answer, her focus glued to the display. The holographic projection of Earth showed swirling energy radiating outward, forming concentric waves that spread across the solar system. Kayla's stomach sank. This wasn't just a localized event. Whatever she had triggered was affecting the surrounding space. "Kayla!" VYRN snapped. "I want an explanation. Now." "It's the signal," she said, forcing herself to stay calm. "When the probe reached the source, it activated something. I don't know what, but it's enormous. This is the greatest discovery in galactic history, Commander." "Discovery?" VYRN's mandibles clicked in anger. "You violated the Accord. You've endangered not just this crew, but the entire galaxy. Do you have any idea what you've unleashed?" "I didn't wake anything." Kayla shot back, her frustration boiling over. The signal was already there, waiting. All I did was prod it. "Prod it?" VYRN gestured at the hologram, where Earth's oceans now glowed with a faint luminescence. "You've poked a sleeping beast." Before Kayla could respond, an alert blared. The hologram shifted to show a massive object rising from the Atlantic Ocean. It was gargantuan, easily the size of a city, and its surface shimmered with iridescent metal. The object bore no resemblance to any known galactic technology. It was ancient and alien, yet hauntingly familiar. "What is that?" whispered Zyrek, his voice barely audible. "Scanning," Solon said, his hands flying over his console. It's emitting energy on a scale I've never seen before. This thing could power an entire star system." Kayla's eyes widened. The energy signature matched the signal she had been tracking. This was at the source of the mystery. Her heart pounded with a mix of awe and terror. Suddenly, the Eclipse's AI spoke again. "Warning, incoming transmission. Source, unknown." Everyone froze. A transmission? From Earth? Kayla exchanged a glance with VYRN, who gave a reluctant nod. She tapped the control to accept. The bridge filled with a deep, resonant voice. It wasn't mechanical, nor did it resemble the speech patterns of any known species. It was calm, deliberate, and unyielding. "To the beings who have disturbed our slumber, identify yourselves." Kayla's breath caught in her throat. The voice wasn't a simple automated response, it was sentient. She hesitated, then stepped forward, speaking into the ship's comm system. "This is Dr. Kayla of the Zytheronian starship Eclipse. We come in peace." "Who are you?" There was a long pause before the voice replied. "You are Zytheronian. Your kind is known to us. Why have you broken the accord? Why have you awakened us?" "We didn't mean to awaken you," Kayla said quickly. "We detected a signal and sought to understand it. Please, tell us who you are." "We are the custodians. We were left to guard the Great Sleep. And now, because of your actions, the sleepers stir." Kayla felt her blood run cold. The custodians. The legends had mentioned them, automated protectors of Earth, designed to ensure humanity's slumber would remain undisturbed. But the way the voice said stir filled her with dread. "What do you mean, the sleepers?" she asked. The custodian's response was immediate. "The humans. The ones you were warned never to disturb. They were placed in stasis to preserve the galaxy from their wrath. Now, they begin to wake. This is a grave error." The bridge erupted in panicked whispers. VYRN silenced them with a glare. "Shut it down, Kayla. Whatever you've started, end it. Now." Kayla's mind raced. Could she even stop this? The custodian's warnings were clear, but they also hinted at something deeper. Why were the humans put to sleep? What were they capable of? Before she could respond, the custodian spoke again, its tone more urgent. "The awakening cannot be reversed. Prepare yourselves, Zytheronians. The humans will rise, and when they do, they will reshape the galaxy." The transmission cut off, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. Kayla's crew stared at her, their fear palpable. Even VYRN seemed shaken, though he hid it well. Kayla turned back to the hologram of Earth, where more objects began to rise from the oceans and continents, their energy signatures growing stronger. The humans were waking. And Kayla, for all her brilliance, had no idea what would come next. The Eclipse drifted in orbit, its crew paralyzed by the enormity of what they had unleashed. Below them, Earth pulsed with energy, as though the planet itself was breathing. The structures rising from its oceans and lands shimmered like beacons, each one radiating power that was off the charts. Kayla stood frozen at her console, her mind a whirlwind of questions. She wasn't sure what terrified her more, the prospect of waking the humans or the possibility that she might not fully understand what waking even meant. "Multiple energy readings detected," Solon reported, his voice strained. "The structures are spreading across the planet. They appear to be reactivating ancient networks." "What kind of networks?" VYRN demanded, his hands gripping the command chair. Solon hesitated. "Not just communications. These networks seem to integrate planetary defense systems, energy relays, and something else I can't identify. VYRN turned to Kayla, his expression grim. We need answers. Now. What have you triggered? Kayla ignored the accusation and focused on the holographic display. The custodian's words haunted her. The humans will rise, and when they do, they will reshape the galaxy. What did that mean? Were the humans dangerous, as the legend suggested? Or was the galaxy afraid of them for another reason? Before she could ponder further, another alert blared. Gravitational anomaly increasing, the AI warned. Earth's mass distortion spreading beyond the planet's immediate vicinity. Kayla's eyes widened. Earth wasn't just waking up, it was affecting the fabric of space itself. What's causing the distortion? She asked. Unclear, Solon replied. But it's originating from the structures. A sudden tremor rocked the ship. The Eclipse's lights flickered as systems struggled to compensate for the gravitational fluctuations. Kayla gripped her console for support as the crew scrambled to stabilize the vessel. Commander! Zyrek called out. We've got incoming. Kayla turned to the main viewport, where a massive object was emerging from Earth's atmosphere. It was a ship, no, a fleet. Sleek, angular vessels rose from the planet's surface, their metallic hulls glowing with energy. They weren't primitive relics of a bygone era, they were advanced, terrifyingly so. Kayla's breath caught in her throat. Impossible, VYRN muttered. How did they build that? Maybe they didn't stop building, Kayla said quietly. Maybe their technology evolved while they slept. The largest ship in the fleet, a colossal vessel that dwarfed even the Eclipse, drifted into view. Its hull bore intricate patterns that seemed to shift and pulse with a life of their own. Kayla's console lit up with warnings as the ship scanned the Eclipse. Incoming transmission, the AI announced. Put it through, VYRN ordered. The voice that followed was deep and resonant, far more human than the custodians had been. It carried an air of authority, as though its speaker was accustomed to commanding entire worlds. Zytheronian vessel, it said, you are in restricted space. Identify yourselves and explain your presence. VYRN glanced at Kayla, his jaw tight. This is Commander VYRN of the Zytheronian starship Eclipse. We mean no harm. We were investigating a signal. The voice paused for a moment, as though processing the information. When it spoke again, its tone was sharper. You interfered with the preservation protocol. Do you understand what you've done? Kayla stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear tightening her chest. We detected your signal and sought to learn from it. We didn't know it would trigger an awakening. Your ignorance is irrelevant, the voice replied. The preservation protocol was designed to safeguard the galaxy from humanity's tendencies. You have disrupted it. Now, the galaxy will face the consequences. What consequences? Kayla demanded. Why were you put into stasis? What is the preservation protocol? There was a long silence before the voice answered. The humans of Earth were placed in stasis to prevent their destruction and yours. Our species is unique, adaptive, innovative, but also highly volatile. In our pursuit of advancement, we nearly destroyed not only our planet but the fabric of spacetime itself. The custodians deemed us too dangerous to be left unchecked. So, we were preserved. Kayla's mind reeled. The legends were true, but the reality was far more complex. The humans weren't just dangerous, they were powerful beyond measure. And now, they were awake. Your actions have accelerated our reactivation, the voice continued. The custodians warned you for good reason. Humanity was never meant to re-enter the galaxy unprepared. VYRN stepped forward. If you know this, then why not go back into stasis? The galaxy is at peace without you. The voice laughed a low, mirthless sound. Peace? Your galaxy stagnates. You've mistaken stillness for harmony. The universe is in need of evolution, and humanity is uniquely suited to drive it forward. Whether you see it as a curse or a gift is irrelevant. Before VYRN could respond, another alarm blared. The gravitational distortion around Earth was growing, its tendrils spreading across the solar system. Ships in orbit struggled to maintain stability as Earth's energy signature continued to rise. "We don't have much time," the voice said. "The awakening is irreversible. Humanity will rise, and with it, a new era for the galaxy. Prepare yourselves." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the Eclipse's crew in stunned silence. Kayla turned back to the holographic display, where Earth's surface continued to glow with an almost ethereal light. The rising structures now resembled towers, their spires piercing the clouds. "What now?" Solon asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Kayla straightened, her mind racing. "We need to understand them. If humanity is going to reshape the galaxy, we need to figure out how and what role we'll play in it." VYRN shook his head. "Our role is survival. We warn the Council and hope they're ready for what's coming." As the crew prepared to leave orbit, Kayla couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The humans were waking, and the galaxy was on the brink of an upheaval unlike anything it had ever seen. And Kayla couldn't help but wonder, was this humanity's reckoning or its rebirth? The Eclipse barely made it out of Earth's orbit. As the ship stabilized in a safe zone beyond the moon's gravitational pull, Kayla stood in the observation deck, staring at the planet below. It no longer looked like the quiet, dormant world she had studied for years. Earth was alive, its surface a tapestry of glowing energy grids and rising technological marvels. The humans were waking, and the galaxy had no choice but to deal with the consequences. In the distance, the human fleet hovered in a defensive formation, their colossal flagship at the center. It was a stark reminder that Earth was no longer the silent enigma it had been for millennia. Humanity was not re-emerging as a fractured civilization, they were rising as a unified, advanced force. Kayla's thoughts were interrupted by Commander VYRN's voice over the intercom. "Dr. Kayla, report to the war room immediately." She sighed, her shoulders heavy with the weight of what was to come. As she made her way to the war room, she passed crewmates whispering in hushed tones, their expressions a mix of fear and awe. They all knew the truth now. The galaxy had avoided waking the humans not out of mercy, but out of terror. In the war room, VYRN stood at the central console, flanked by Solon, Zyrek, and a holographic projection of the Galactic Council chamber. The Council representatives, an assembly of the galaxy's most powerful species, looked anything but composed. Their faces betrayed panic, anger, and desperation. "You've brought us to the brink of disaster," one representative, a reptilian Drexelian, hissed. "The accord was clear, and you violated it. Do you have any idea what you've unleashed?" Kayla stepped forward, her voice calm but resolute. "I didn't violate the accord out of malice. I was seeking answers the galaxy has avoided for too long. The humans were never meant to stay asleep forever. Yet here we are," another representative, an ethereal Corvin, interjected. "Their awakening destabilizes the entire region. Do you not see the risk?" Kayla gestured to the projection of Earth. "I see the risk, but I also see the potential. Humanity isn't the chaotic force the legends make them out to be. Look at what they've accomplished while in stasis. Their technology has evolved far beyond ours. Instead of fearing them, we should try to understand them." "Understand them?" VYRN cut in, his voice sharp. "They've already declared their intent to reshape the galaxy. What if that means conquest? Domination? The custodians themselves warned us about their volatility." Kayla met his gaze. "And what if it doesn't? What if they're exactly what the galaxy needs? You've said it yourself, our civilizations have stagnated. We've clung to peace by avoiding progress. Maybe humanity's awakening is a catalyst for change." Before anyone could respond, the ship's AI interrupted. Incoming transmission from the human flagship. The room fell silent. VYRN hesitated, then nodded. Put it through. The war room's central console flickered, and a holographic figure materialized. It was a human woman with dark skin, sharp features, and piercing eyes. She wore an elegant uniform that radiated authority, adorned with symbols that likely represented humanity's new order. I am Admiral Elena Kor of the EOS, flagship of the Terran Ascendancy, she began, her voice steady and commanding. We've observed your retreat and your subsequent communications with your council. I assume you have questions. VYRN stepped forward, his posture rigid. We have more than questions, Admiral. Your awakening has destabilized this sector. What are your intentions? Admiral Kor's expression softened, but only slightly. Our intentions are not hostile, Commander. Humanity has spent thousands of years in stasis, refining ourselves and our technology. The custodian's decision to preserve us was not one we agreed with, but we understand why it was necessary. Now, however, we are ready to reclaim our place in the galaxy. And what does that mean? Kayla asked, stepping forward. Reclaim how? By force? Kor's gaze shifted to Kayla, and for a moment, the two women studied each other. By force? No, the Admiral replied. By leadership. The galaxy has stagnated in our absence. You cling to outdated technologies and philosophies. Humanity has the means to drive progress, to unite the galaxy under a shared vision of advancement. Unite? VYRN scoffed. You mean rule? Kor's eyes hardened. Call it what you will, Commander. But the galaxy cannot remain as it is, fractured and stagnant. We've seen the records of your so-called peace. It's a fragile truce built on fear, not trust. That is not peace. Humanity can offer something better. Kayla stepped closer to the projection. You're asking us to trust you. But how can we, when the legends of your past paint a picture of destruction? Kor nodded slowly. Your mistrust is justified. Our ancestors made mistakes, grave ones. But we are not those people anymore. We've spent millennia learning from our failures, perfecting ourselves. Give us a chance to prove that we can lead not through domination, but through innovation. Kayla hesitated. There was conviction in Kor's voice, a sincerity that was hard to ignore. But the weight of the decision wasn't hers alone. She turned to VYRN, whose expression was a mask of doubt and frustration. Admiral, VYRN said finally, if humanity intends to lead, you'll need the galaxy's cooperation. And right now, all you've inspired is fear. Kor's lips curled into a faint smile. Then let us change that. We'll open our borders to diplomatic envoys. Let your people come to Earth and see what we've become. If we're to lead, it must be with transparency. The hologram flickered off, leaving the room in silence. The council representatives remained frozen, their expressions unreadable. Kayla turned to VYRN. They're offering an olive branch. We should take it. VYRN exhaled heavily. We'll report back to the council. But if this goes wrong, Kayla, the blame will fall squarely on you. In the weeks that followed, diplomatic envoys from across the galaxy traveled to Earth. What they found was astonishing. Humanity's cities were marvels of architecture and technology, seamlessly blending nature and innovation. Their society was highly organized, their culture thriving. The humans welcomed the envoys with open arms, sharing their advancements and their vision for the galaxy's future. Kayla watched it all unfold from the eclipse, her heart a mix of pride and trepidation. Humanity was rising, but the question remained, would their awakening bring unity or chaos? As the first interstellar summit convened on Earth, Kayla stood among the delegates, listening as Admiral Kor addressed the assembly. Today marks the beginning of a new era, Kor declared. Humanity does not seek to conquer, we seek to build. Together, we can achieve what none of us could alone. Let this be the dawn of a united galaxy. The room erupted in cautious applause, and Kayla allowed herself a small smile. For better or worse, humanity had returned. And the galaxy would never be the same.